Success stories in Hollywood often look glamorous from the outside, but behind the red carpets and award shows lie stories of incredible sacrifice, determination, and resilience. Some of today's biggest black celebrities didn't just work hard to make it, they endured homelessness, poverty, rejection, and conditions that would have broken most people. These weren't just setbacks, they were years-long battles against circumstances that seemed designed to keep them down. Here are 10 black celebrities whose journeys to success required going to extraordinary lengths that most of us can't even imagine. Tyler Perry slept in his car for 3 years. Before Tyler Perry owned his own massive studio in Atlanta, he was sleeping in a 1992 Geo Metro, living off $50 a week from odd comedy gigs. Born in poverty in New Orleans and raised in an abusive household, Perry dropped out of high school and worked as a hotel employee, car salesman, and bill collector while writing plays on the side. At 27 years old, he saved up $12,000 and rented a community theater to produce his first play, No, I've Been Changed. 30 people showed up. He lost everything. For the next 6 years, Perry lived on and off in his car, showering at gas stations and sleeping wherever he could find safety. He kept rewriting his play and staging it in different cities, each time hoping this would be the one that broke through. From 1992 to 1998, every show he produced flopped. No one came. He went bankrupt multiple times. His mother begged him to get a steady job. But Perry refused to give up. He kept working odd jobs during the day, carpet cleaning for families who gave him a chance, and performing at night when he could get a venue. In 1998, 7 years after his first failed attempt, he staged the play at the House of Blues in Atlanta. It sold out too. Then, the Fox Theater sold out. Suddenly, theaters across the South wanted his work. By 2005, Perry had his first major film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Today, he owns Tyler Perry Studios, a 330-acre facility that was once a Confederate Army base and is worth over $1 billion. He keeps that old Geo Metro parked in front of his main office building as a reminder of where he came from. Halle Berry lived in a homeless shelter. At 21 years old, Halle Berry arrived in New York City with dreams of becoming an actress and money from modeling gigs in her pocket. Within 3 months, she was completely broke. Berry called her mother and asked her to send money so she could pay rent and survive while she auditioned. Her mother said no. Berry was furious, and the two didn't speak for a year. But looking back, Berry calls it one of the best things her mother ever did for her. With nowhere to live and no financial safety net, Berry moved into a homeless shelter in New York City. She slept among strangers, had no privacy, no control over her circumstances, and faced the daily fear and indignity that comes with being homeless in one of the most expensive cities in the world. During the day, she went to auditions, trying to look put together enough to convince casting directors she was right for roles, all while knowing she had no permanent place to sleep that night. Eventually, Berry found work as a waitress, then as a bartender, scraping together enough money to get her own place. The experience taught her she could survive anything. She refused to give up or go back home defeated. In 1991, she landed her breakthrough role in Spike Lee's Jungle Fever. By 2002, she became the first black woman to win the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in Monsters Ball. Today, Berry has spoken openly about how that period of homelessness shaped her, giving her the resilience and work ethic that carried her through decades in Hollywood. She doesn't regret it, she says. It made her who she is. Oprah Winfrey wore dresses made from potato sacks. Oprah Winfrey is now one of the wealthiest and most influential women in the world, but her childhood was marked by extreme poverty and abuse that could have destroyed her before she ever had a chance. Born in rural Mississippi in 1954 to an unwed teenage mother, Oprah spent her first 6 years living on her grandmother's farm in conditions so poor that she wore dresses made from potato sacks. Other children made fun of her. Her grandmother beat her regularly with a stick, sometimes so badly that the welts on her back would bleed. At age 6, Oprah was sent to Milwaukee to live with her mother, who worked long hours as a maid and had little time for her daughter. Living in an inner-city boarding house, Oprah was sexually abused by family members and friends of the family starting at age 9. The abuse continued for years. At 14, she became pregnant and gave birth to a psychiatric baby who died shortly after. Lost and traumatized, she was sent to live with her father in Nashville, a strict disciplinarian who gave her structure and made education a priority. Under his guidance, Oprah transformed. She became an honors student, joined the speech team, and won a full scholarship to Tennessee State University. At 19, she became the youngest and first black female news anchor in Nashville. Her natural ability to connect with people led to hosting talk shows, and in 1986, The Oprah Winfrey Show debuted nationally. The show ran for 25 years and made her a billionaire. But Oprah has never forgotten where she came from, and she's used her platform to help others who've suffered abuse and poverty. Chris Gardner slept in a public bathroom with his toddler son. The story that inspired the film, The Pursuit of Happiness, is even more harrowing than what made it to the screen. Chris Gardner grew up in Milwaukee with an abusive stepfather who once threw him outside naked at gunpoint on Christmas Day. His mother was imprisoned twice, once for collecting welfare while working, and once for setting fire to the house with his stepfather inside. In the early 1980s, Gardner's life hit rock bottom. His girlfriend left him with their toddler son and no way to pay rent. He had just started an unpaid internship at a stock brokerage firm, Dean Witter Reynolds, working long hours with no income. Gardner and his son became homeless. For nearly a year, they slept wherever they could find shelter: parks, airports, bus stations, the office after hours, cheap motels when he could scrape together money, and even a locked bathroom at a BART station in San Francisco. Every morning, Gardner would wake up early, get his son to daycare, then put in 12 to 14-hour days at the brokerage, competing with other interns for one of the few full-time positions. His co-workers had no idea he was homeless. He raced to pick up his son before shelters closed for the night, often arriving just before curfew at places like the Glide Memorial Church, which gave them a bed. The instability was crushing, but Gardner never gave up. He told himself that if he kept moving forward 1 foot in front of the other, he could create a better life for his son. After 6 months, Gardner was one of the few interns offered a full-time job. He became a successful stockbroker, and in 1987 founded his own brokerage firm, Gardner Rich & Co. His story became a New York Times bestseller and a $300 million film starring Will Smith. Steve Harvey was homeless for 3 years. Before Steve Harvey became the face of Family Feud and one of the most recognizable personalities in entertainment, he spent 3 years homeless, living out of a 1976 Ford Tempo. Harvey grew up poor in Cleveland, the youngest of 5 children. His father worked for just $5 a day. In school, Harvey dreamed of being on television, but his teacher told him it was impossible for a kid from a small county in West Virginia. His father, however, believed in him and told him to never give up on his dreams. Harvey flunked out of college, got fired from multiple jobs as a mail carrier, carpet cleaner, insurance salesman, and auto worker, and at 27 years old, decided to pursue stand-up comedy. He performed his first set in 1985 and immediately knew this was what he wanted to do with his life. But success didn't come. For the next 3 years, from age 30 to 33, Harvey was homeless. He slept in his car when comedy clubs didn't provide a hotel room. He showered at gas stations and swimming pool facilities. He ate bologna sandwiches from an igloo cooler and made just $50 a week from occasional gigs. The isolation and uncertainty were crushing, but Harvey held on to faith that things would eventually turn around. He later said he kept thinking, "God didn't bring me this far to leave me." In 1990, Harvey made it to the finals of the second annual Johnny Walker National Comedy Search. That break led to him hosting It's Showtime at the Apollo in 1993, then The Steve Harvey Show on the WB from 1996 to 2002. He joined the Kings of Comedy tour with Cedric the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, and D.L. Hewley, which became a massive success. Today, Harvey hosts multiple shows, has written best-selling books, and is worth an estimated $200 million. Lil' Kim was kicked out at 14 and lived on the streets. Kimberly Denise Jones was born in Brooklyn in 1974 and grew up in a volatile home. Her parents' marriage was marked by abuse, and when they divorced, 8-year-old Kim and her mother found themselves homeless, living out of their car and sleeping on relatives' couches. Eventually, Kim's mother couldn't support her children and gave custody to their father, a former U.S. Marine. For a while, things were stable, but when Kim started dating at 13, her father became verbally and physically abusive. He told her everything about her was wrong, her hair, her clothes, just her existence. At 14, after a violent argument where Kim allegedly stabbed her father with scissors, he kicked her out of the house. Kim dropped out of high school and started living on the streets of Brooklyn. She later told interviewers she did whatever it took to survive, running errands for drug dealers and making ends meet however she could. The streets were dangerous and violent, and Kim had to learn to fight to protect herself because she had no one else to rely on. At 17, still homeless, Kim met the notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, who recognized her talent for freestyle rapping. He invited her to join his group, Junior MAFIA, and their 1995 debut album, Conspiracy, went gold. In 1996, Kim released her solo's debut, Hardcore, which was praised for its raw sexuality and hardcore sound. The album established her as the queen of rap and opened doors for female rappers who came after her. Kim has faced many struggles since, including the death of Biggie, legal troubles, and financial difficulties, but she credits her time on the streets with teaching her the toughness and resilience that allowed her to survive in the music industry. Lupita Nyong'o worked as a production assistant before Yale. Lupita Nyong'o's journey to becoming an Academy Award-winning actress wasn't handed to her. It required years of strategic sacrifice and persistence. Born in Mexico City to Kenyan parents who had fled political persecution, Lupita grew up in Kenya, where her father later became a senator and government minister. Despite her family's eventual stability, Lupita faced her own struggles pursuing acting. After graduating from Hampshire College with a degree in film and African studies, she worked as a productions assistant on various film sets, including The Constant Gardener, which filmed in Kenya. During that time, she met actor Ralph Fiennes and asked him for advice about pursuing acting. He told her to only become an actor if she felt there was nothing else in the world she wanted to do, if she couldn't live without acting. His words stayed with her. Lupita then enrolled at the Yale School of Drama, one of the most prestigious and demanding acting programs in the world. The program required complete dedication, long hours of training in classical theater, voice work, movement, and scene study. Students often worked late into the night, rehearsing for productions while maintaining academic coursework. The financial burden was also significant, and Lupita took on student debt to complete the program. Just weeks before graduating in 2012, Lupita got the call that would change her life. She had been cast as Patsy in Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave. Her portrayal of an enslaved woman who is brutally abused was heartbreaking and powerful. In 2014, Lupita won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress becoming the first Kenyan and Mexican actress to win an Oscar. She was only 30 years old, and it was her first major film role. Since then, she's starred in Black Panther Us and numerous other films, but she's never forgotten the years of training, sacrifice, and determination it took to get there. Denzel Washington failed his first Broadway audition at the same theater, where he later won a Tony. Even Denzel Washington, one of the greatest actors of all time, had to endure repeated failure before he found success. Early in his career, Washington auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical at the Court Theater. He thought it was the perfect role for him, except for one major problem: he couldn't sing. Standing in the wings, he watched the guy before him sing like Pavarotti while Denzel shrank smaller and smaller, knowing he was about to embarrass himself. He walked out with his sheet music for Just My Imagination by The Temptations and started singing. After one verse, the director cut him off. "Thank you very much. You'll be hearing from us." Washington knew immediately he didn't get the job, but instead of giving up, he walked out of that theater and prepared for the next audition, and the next, and the next. He prayed, he worked, and he failed again and again. But failure didn't stop him. As Washington later said, "You hang around the barber shop long enough, sooner or later, you're going to get a haircut. You will catch a break," and he did. Washington's breakthrough came with his role in the television series St. Elsewhere in the early 1980s, followed by films like Cry Freedom and Glory, for which he won his first Academy Award in 1989. From that point on, Washington became one of the most respected actors in Hollywood and hasn't had to audition for a role in over 40 years. In 2010, 30 years after that failed audition, Washington starred in the Broadway revival of Fences at the Court Theater, the exact same theater where he had been rejected decades earlier. He won the Tony Award for Best Actor. The journey had come full circle, and the lesson was clear. Failure is not the end. It's just part of the process. Tupac Shakur lived in homeless shelters as a teenager. Tupac Shakur became one of the most influential and iconic rappers in history, but his early life was defined by instability, poverty, and homelessness. Born in New York City in 1971 to Black Panther activists, Tupac moved constantly as a child, bouncing between relatives and low-income housing. His mother, Afeni Shakur, struggled with addiction, and the family often had no stable place to live. As a teenager, Tupac and his family stayed in homeless shelters throughout New York City. They moved from place to place, never knowing where they would sleep or if they would have enough to eat. Despite this chaos, Tupac was deeply creative and found solace in poetry, theater, and music. He attended the Baltimore School for the Arts, where he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. His teachers saw his talent and potential, but the instability at home made it hard for Tupac to focus. After moving to California, Tupac's mother's struggles worsened, and at times Tupac was effectively homeless again, couch surfing with friends and sleeping wherever he could. During this period, he began rapping and performing, channeling his pain and anger into his music. Tupac's raw honesty about poverty, violence, and systemic oppression resonated with millions of people. His albums, including Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me, became cultural landmarks. He acted in films like Juice and Poetic Justice, proving his versatility as an artist. Tragically, Tupac was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996 at just 25 years old. But his legacy endures. His music continues to inspire new generations, and his story of rising from homelessness to become a global icon remains one of the most powerful in hip-hop history. Jennifer Lopez slept at her dance studio. Before Jennifer Lopez became a global superstar worth hundreds of millions of dollars, she faced homelessness while pursuing her dream of becoming a performer. Growing up in the Bronx, Lopez loved dancing and knew from a young age that she wanted to perform. When she graduated from high school, her mother wanted her to go to college and have a stable career, but Jennifer wanted to dance professionally. The disagreement led to a serious conflict. Without her mother's financial support, 18-year-old Jennifer had nowhere to live. She couldn't afford her own apartment on the little money she made from dance auditions and small gigs, so she slept on a sofa at her dance studio. The conditions were far from comfortable, but Lopez was determined. She refused to give up on her dream or return home and admit defeat. She auditioned relentlessly, working as a dancer on the television show In Living Color in 1991, which gave her national exposure. From there, she transitioned to acting, landing roles in films like Selena in 1997, which catapulted her to stardom. She then launched a massively successful music career with hits like If You Had My Love and Jenny from the Block. Today, Jennifer Lopez is worth an estimated $360 million. She's a singer, actress, producer, businesswoman, and fashion icon. But she's never forgotten the nights she spent sleeping on that studio sofa, fighting for a dream that seemed impossible to everyone around her. Her story is a testament to the power of self-belief and relentless determination, even when you have nothing and no one believes in you. Believes in you. Believes in you.